And I believe this is, and most people I think do as well, this historic legislation is about rebuilding the backbone of this country and giving people in this nation, working people, middle-class folks, people who built the country, a fighting chance. That's what the essence of it is.
President Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill called the American Rescue Plan in the Oval Office yesterday. But what's not being talked about nearly as much is that millions of Americans may not even receive all or parts of the $1,400 check being sent out due to Democrats failing to protect those checks from garnishment, according to multiple sources.
It's clear that an overwhelming percentage of the American people, Democrats, independents, or Republican friends, have made it clear, the people out there, made it clear they strongly support the American Rescue Plan. Yesterday, with the final passage of the plan in the House of Representatives, their voices were heard and reflected in everything we have in this bill. And I believe this is, and most people I think do as well, this historic legislation is about rebuilding the backbone of this country and giving people in this nation, working people, middle-class folks, people who built the country, a fighting chance. That's what the essence of it is. And I'm going to have a lot more to say about that tonight and the next couple of days and be able to take your questions. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is sign this bill and make a presentation tonight. And then there's going to be plenty of opportunities. We're going to be on the road, not only talking about what I'm talking about tonight is the impact on the virus and how we're going to end this pandemic. And we're going to talk at all the elements of the bill, beginning on Friday, Saturday, and through the week. So, thank you for being here. Got it. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Joe Biden said that the American Rescue Plan is supposed to, quote, give the people who built the country a fighting chance, end quote. The framing on these policy proposals is amazing sometimes, and I just don't have the energy right now to laugh at how bad the framing actually is in reality. But before I share my thoughts, let me read you this article from Mother Jones. So the article is titled, "Stimulus Checks Are on the Way, Debt Collectors Could Seize Them." There's nothing in the new legislation to prevent stimulus funds from being garnished. So it says here, I have some parts of the article already highlighted. The House passed the $1.9 trillion COVID relief package on Wednesday, and President Joe Biden is expected to sign it this week, ushering in a sweeping set of programs to aid Americans battered by the pandemic. The package includes expanded unemployment benefits, rent relief, a temporary allowance for families with children, and $1,400 stimulus checks. But thanks to a quirk, it's not really a thanks, to a quirk of the legislative rulemaking process, those $1,400 checks could disappear from millions of Americans' bank accounts. That's because there is nothing in the bill to stop debt collectors from seizing those stimulus checks to pay off private debts. The last COVID relief package passed in December included protections to stop debt collectors from garnishing stimulus checks. But the first relief bill, the $1,200 bill enacted last spring, did not, and some debt collectors seized stimulus payments from people with debts, a worrisome sign for this next round, which is even more targeted to low and middle income households. Then it says here, if a debt collector has obtained a judgment against a consumer, the collector can now issue an order requiring a bank to turn over stimulus money as soon as it hits someone's account. And then the last couple of paragraphs, it says several states have passed laws to protect COVID relief money from being seized, but federal lawmakers did not include this protection in the package currently headed to Biden's desk. That's because it would likely have been thrown out due to something called the Byrd Rule. To avoid having to overcome a filibuster with 60 votes in the Senate, Democrats passed the relief bill using a process known as budget reconciliation. The Byrd rule stops lawmakers from tacking on measures to reconciliation bills that won't directly affect the budget. It's quite likely that a provision protecting stimulus checks from seizure by debt collectors would have been thrown out under this rule, explains Saunders. The result is that debt collectors could could start seizing stimulus checks as soon as they start going out, which could be in a matter of days. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Fewer people, meaning maybe tens of millions, won't get the full amount of the $1,400 or anything at all. How can I say that? You guys know, I was really just going to you guys, it's not really a question because I think this is obvious to everybody. You guys know how many millions of people in this country are in debt up to their necks and live paycheck to paycheck. The one saving grace for many people is if you happen to live in a state where you have politicians in power who actually care about this, where these garnishments are being blocked on a state level. I'm in North Carolina. I heard something of that effect happening here in North Carolina. I don't know what it's like in your state, which is why, it's something that you should probably look into. But that's not going to apply to everybody, obviously. Okay, so how can they let this happen? I originally came up with the idea to cover this story today because of what I saw when I woke up this morning. I saw hashtag Biden calm trending because the usual Democratic Party water carriers were pushing that trend to the top as they want you to focus your attention on how calm Joe Biden was last night when he addressed the nation, and not the fact that fewer people are receiving aid than those who got aid under Trump. I also guarantee that there will be widespread ignoring of this, just like how people just ignore the fact that many didn't get the $600 from the check last time. They ignored that while they tried to rationalize deducting $600 from the $2,000 that we were told we'd receive during the election cycle. Right. So I'm tired of these I'm tired of political grandstanding and Kool-Aid drinking partisan hackery. Okay. I'm tired of watching issues get downplayed and ignored because it doesn't fit some people's political agenda to speak up and tell the truth. Okay, I hope that you all get what you are owed from this government. Like I said, look into your respective garnishment laws in your respective states. This is going to be something that differs state by state because you're not getting federal protection from this. So this may or may not apply to you. Okay, but with the sheer number of black and brown people in this country who are in debt, it was a story I had to cover. So my name is Brian Lewis. That is all I have to say about this before I get a little too carried away. Please like, share, and subscribe.